We begin at the end. There used to be a photo of a naked woman in the bedroom while I was growing up. She had long flowing hair which used to cover her breasts, and she had a paunch that was hanging so that it would cover her lower sides. Naturally, as a kid, I asked my parents, "Why is there a photo of a naked woman in the bedroom?" To which they responded that that was Lal Ded, a mystic and a poetess from Kashmir. Lal Ded was a saintly woman who had let go of everything that was material in this world. She had let go of her family bonds, of worldly possessions, and even her clothes. But she felt no shame because her only purpose in life was her devotion to her god, Lord Shiva. She felt that no one could reach her in terms of devotion, gyan, or bhakti in general. So the story goes that one day a very learned man came to Kashmir, and while roaming the streets, while reading her verses, her work, she came upon him, and as soon as her eyes fell upon him for the first time, she felt shame. She felt embarrassed because she felt naked as she was being seen. So the story goes that she ran in her embarrassment, she helter skelter, she looked for the first place that she could hide, and she found a furnace, a kandu, and she jumped right into it. Now, here the stories take two paths. One story says that when she jumped in and she came out, she emerged with beautiful clothing and gold. However, the second story says as soon as she left into the furnace, she died. She burnt herself in her embarrassment. The point of this is not how the story ends, but the point here is Lal Ded herself. Let's explore about Lal Ded, who was born as Lalleshwari in Kashmir. There won't be a single Kashmiri who does not know of Lal Ded. She was a 14th century mystic and poetess from Kashmir, and her verses are some of the earliest Kashmiri composition, and she is a very vital part of Kashmiri literature as a whole. She was an ardent follower of Lord Shiva, and she used her verses and her poetry to not only indulge in Shaivism but also in Sufism. Although, interestingly enough, she never actually saw herself as a poetess. All she did was write verses and recite them in the praise of her Lord and her salvation. Like all true thinkers of their time, Lalleshwari also challenged the ongoing societal norms and challenges. Lal Ded is believed to have been born between 1320 to 1355 to a Kashmiri Pandit family as Lalleshwari. She was educated up till the age of 12 in religious texts, post which she was married off, and unfortunately, she was married off to a very cruel family where her mother in law not only treated her cruelly but also continuously criticized her. There's a well known story that says that her mother in law would put stones in her plate and then cover them with rice. And despite being underfed and poorly treated, Kaleshwari never complained. She moved on with her life. As a part of her daily chores, she would often leave her house early in the morning and return until late night or evenings. And during these gaps of time, she would often visit a Shiv temple across the river from her house. Here, she would meet her future guru, Siddh Shrikant, under whom she pursued yoga. When she turned 26, Laleshwari renounced everything the world had to offer, her marriage, her clothes, her material possessions, because she believed that all of this was just Maya. There was only one truth, Lord Shiva. When she gave up all of her possessions, she would roam around the streets of Kashmir completely naked or in rags, and all she did was recite her chants and mantras and she openly questioned the elite and the unassailable Sanskrit academia. Like I mentioned earlier, Lal Ded never actually saw herself as a poetess. All she did was chant mantras in the praise of her god. Perhaps it was her ability to impact people that made them follow her and recite her chants with her. Lal Ded's contribution to the literature of Kashmir are called waqs. They were initially passed down orally until they were finally published. The works take you through a beautiful journey through the disillusionment of the world, the distress of human beings, and the search of God, and finally, the realization of the highest truth. Her works not only show you her poetic genius, but they also show you her mystic experience. Although her works were quite personal to her, but the lessons that they taught were universal, and that's what perhaps makes them so beautiful. Although very, very profound, her humanism made them very relatable to the people, and her work henceforth became timeless and continues to resonate with a lot of people. Her verses have played a very critical role in shaping the Kashmiri language and the literature itself. In one of her very well known verses, she says, and she emphasizes the fact that there is no particular difference between the people of different religions as we are all one. Why do I say that her role has been pivotal? Is because one of the key and most significant contributions that she has made is bringing the difficult Shaivya philosophy that was confined to Sanskrit knowing people. She not only brought it, she broke it down and made it very easy and understandable for just Kashmiri knowing common folk. And perhaps she brought them closer to not only understanding their God but also somewhere achieving or reaching their God while translating these heavily evolved yet subtle concepts and giving them a twist of her mystic experiences into a very commonly known language. She not only made it easily accessible to the general public but she also enriched the language itself. मान लो उन्होंने भाषा में भगवान को बसेरा दे दिया हो. While the beginning of Kashmiri language and literature as a whole is often debated, one thing for sure where credit can't be taken away is Lal Ded's contribution to the revival of the Kashmiri dialect as a whole. Since her verses were not actually written down originally, we can't say how many were actually there and how many have been lost to time. And even when they were written down, they were passed down through the generations. And as it usually happens with literature, I'm sure that a lot of verses were not only changed, but they had additions and subtractions. Lalda's openness and her understanding of the genuine problems that the common people faced is what made her immensely popular. Even today, there won't be a single Kashmiri, Hindu or Muslim, literate or illiterate, that would not know of her story. Her name is yet spoken with a lot of pride, respect, and admiration in the valley. After living most of her life as a mystic and a poetess and inspiring others, Lal Ded is believed to have died in the late 14th century. This is Satvik for Kafko. Thanks for watching. See you again.